WCBC, the station you can count on.
10:09 this morning, WCBC Cumberland. Temperature is 76 degrees in Center City. Pretty day. Dave here. I told you this was coming. This is a pretty heady, if I will, or if I may, conversation. I'm not sure that I'm up to this, Todd, but I'm going to try. Todd, introduce yourself, please.
Hi, good to be on your show, David. It's Todd Kendall, and I'm here to talk about fossil fuel divestment.
Todd is an economist and a senior vice president with something called Compass Lexicon. What's that?
We're an independent research and consulting company, and we've just released a new study on this topic that has been widely talked about on colleges and university campuses, and I think is important to not just them, but really to any investor.
Indeed. We've got a bunch of them here in our area. The headline would be Fossil Fuel Divestment, not investment. Fossil Fuel Divestment may cost endowments. The endowments in this case would be college and university endowments, correct?
Yeah, that's right. They have
the new report shows the costs related to divestment have the potential to rob endowment funds of as much as 12% of their total value over a 20-year time frame. You've heard people from Frostburg State and Allegheny College of Maryland from the office, the foundation offices, talk about all of the things that they do with their offices and how important it is for those balances to increase. How does fossil fuel divestment cost endowment accounts?
Well, as any of your listeners know who do some investment on their own, buying and selling stocks has costs, real expenses and fees. And the same is true for a university endowment, even if they have millions or billions of dollars. If they decide they want to sell off their holdings of certain companies, fossil fuel companies, or whoever they think needs to be divested, those expenses and fees can really add up, and that's really what we found.
That's really where this is coming from, then, because I know I'm on the board of a foundation office for one of the colleges in the area, and it's all part of a much larger relationship. That's the University of Maryland endowment program and how they go about investing their money. And you're right, you're talking about millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Are there universities and colleges in the area that have already put their toe in the water, tried to pull away, tried to divest, and found out what happens?
Yeah, I think there's some good examples actually in your area. George Washington University and American University have both looked real carefully at the question of divestment, and I think partly for the same reasons that we come to in this report, decided that it was just too costly and no real benefit in terms of climate change issues. Now, Georgetown is an interesting example, and I think an important one for your listeners to know about. They announced that they were divesting from fossil fuels, but when you read the fine print, what they were actually doing was only selling what they call their direct investments. So that excludes a lot of what they actually invest in, which is mutual funds and all sorts of other funds that may hold and do hold fossil fuel stocks, but they were choosing not to sell those because that gets real expensive. And so even the divestment activists ultimately realized that that wasn't a real victory for them.
You know, there's a laundry list of some of these facilities, like Swarthmore. My grandfather went to Swarthmore College, American U, Middlebury College, Williams College, Bates College. And the list is pretty long. So this is not just for the boards or the board of directors of these various institutions. This would be for the people that perhaps are down to the student who is receiving scholarship funds from a foundation office, and the foundation office is investing money, and if they're losing money instead of growing money, then those scholarships either are diminished or go away.
It's really the students and the alumni who lose from fossil fuel divestment. As you said, either benefits are lost, or that money has to be made up some way in terms of higher tuition or higher fees in some way.
What else did this report teach you, Todd? What else did it acknowledge?
Well, we talked a little about the costs, but you might think, well, maybe there's some benefit. And we looked at that question too, and all the evidence really points to the basic economics and everything. Everybody that's looked at this question says that divestment really has no real benefit. It doesn't affect the way these companies act or what they do. It's like selling your house. You sell your house. It doesn't cause the house to disappear. It doesn't make the house better. It just means that somebody else lives in the house. And you sell your stock in a company. It doesn't change the company. It just changes who owns the company, who owns the stock.
So for those of you that are on foundation offices, boards of directors, it doesn't really matter whether that you're a part of a relatively small institution with a relatively small amount of money to invest, or whether you're big time and big money to invest. The lesson to be learned is that it sort of it covers all as far as disappointing performance.
That's right.
You're robbing endowment funds.
It's ultimately.
Did you find anybody that? Did you find any institution that like led the league in a percentage of total value reduction?
Well, I think that a lot of these universities that have looked at this question found the same thing that we found. For instance, Williams College up in Massachusetts, they feel very strongly about these climate change issues, wanted to divest, wanted to do something about these problems, but when they looked at it, they found that even the initial cost would be $75 million just right off the bat with additional costs to go. So when it really gets down to the nuts and bolts of divestment, it just ends up being too costly for almost everybody who looks at it.
Now, someone's going to suggest that Compass lexicon perhaps is jaded, or that you have a preconceived idea, preconceived results that you wanted. Todd, can you address that?
Yeah, absolutely. We're an independent research and consulting company with nothing really on the line here. We don't try to sell mutual funds or sell anything to investors. And the report and all the data and all the analysis that we did is very transparent, and it's available online to anybody who wants to read it, and they can come to their own conclusions.
This was reported in the New York Times recently, was it not? This phenomenon?
It was. It's been reported widely in all sorts of newspapers.
Well, what did they call it? Pushback? Because the community, the college community, was beginning to fall in line with climate change, and yet they were realizing that their foundation office was, in fact, going in the opposite direction.
Yeah, I think that has been the general trend. There's been a few small universities that have tried to divest, but for the most part, the bigger endowments, the Harvards and Yales and Columbias of the world, have looked at it carefully and decided not to.
It's pretty current because I was just looking at some of the information that Todd supplied me this morning. As recently as a week or two ago, UMass, the University of Massachusetts, announced it was divesting its direct investments from fossil fuel investments. The total the school actually divested $5 million, or less than 1% of its $770 million effort. So it's still happening. So the bottom line is this report is here, it's out, it's available. If this is of any interest to you, what do you do, Todd? Where do you go to get the info?
You can find it in various places on the internet, but one place is a website called divestmentfacts.com. Divestmentfacts.com. And who generates that website? So the website, I believe, is a part of the Independent Petroleum Association of America.
Todd Kendall's an economist and the senior VP for Compass Lexicon. Fossil fuel divestment. Maybe costing money for endowments. Good topic, Todd. Big topic. Thanks, Todd.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.